If we have the whole of the nation approach in ending the local communist armed conflict, we're going to apply the same strategy. Kaya sabi namin sa ating mga kapulisan that we have to stop owning the problem because the problem cannot be solved alone by us.
All of these things na sinasabi nila na magiging iba, sa ngayon, puro salita pa lang ito. Kasi tuloy pa rin yung patayan eh. Siyempre, hindi kasing tindi, hindi kasing lala nung una, pero tuloy pa rin siya.
From the nation's capital, all sides, all the time, I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Hall. The big story tonight.
After launching its revamped anti-drug program under the Marcos administration, the Interior Department has changed its tune regarding its operations and arrests.
The DILG said that while rehabilitation will be a focus of the administration, anti-drug operations and arrests of drug offenders will, quote, continue with the same fervor. Camille Samonte with the big story.
Intensifying drug war but taking into consideration human rights. This was the stand of the Marcos administration. According to Interior Secretary Benhur Abalos, the DILG on Saturday launched its revamped anti-drug campaign called Buhay Ingatan, Droga'y Ayawan or BIDA. But while there will be changes to the program, the DILG said that anti-illegal drug operations and arrest of drug offenders will, quote, continue with the same fervor. Under the revamped anti-drug campaign, a whole nation approach will be conducted. That means the PNP will join forces, local government units, and other sectors in society.
If we have the whole of the nation approach in ending the local communist armed conflict, we're going to apply the same strategy. Kaya sabi namin sa ating mga kapulisan that we have to stop owning the problem because the problem cannot be solved alone by us.
Speaking on One Balita Weekend, Abalos vowed that there would be no let-up in anti-illegal drug raids and operations by law enforcement units. Authorities reportedly caught several big-time drug dealers since President Bongbong Marcos sat into office. Abalos emphasized that the current administration will focus more on the root of the problem, adding that rehabilitation will also be a key focus for the government.
Tutumbukin natin ang problema on the ground sa grassroots sa barangay level. Yung gusto sa surrender, yung gusto magbago, andyan ang rehabilitation, tutulong tayo. Full nation approach.
The Human Rights Watch said that while it agrees with emphasizing the importance of drug rehabilitation, they believe that there is no change yet with the drug campaign of the Marcos administration. For now, the promised changes in the anti-drug campaign are nothing but words for the group.
Puro salita pa lang ito. Kasi ang tingin namin, wala pang nagbabago talaga dun sa nangyayari on the ground. Kasi tuloy pa rin yung patayan eh. Siyempre, hindi kasing tindi, hindi kasing lala nung una, pero tuloy pa rin siya.
Despite the new approach, the Human Rights Watch also insisted that those who died in the alleged extrajudicial killings under the Duterte admin should not be forgotten. For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
Here to give us insights on the, quote, revamped anti-drug campaign of the Marcos administration, we have with us live via Zoom, Bayan Secretary General Renato Reyes Jr. Good evening and welcome to the big story, sir.
Hi, good evening. Gandang gabi sa inyo.
Sir, so sa isang banda, sinabi nila revamped program, sinabi pa nga nila whole of society approach. We look at this also as a matter of rehabilitation. We will also look at the public health aspect of this. But at the same time, sabi nga nila, same fervor in going after drug personalities. Are you expecting any changes?
Well, first, we would like to understand the premise of the so-called new approach. Are they doing the new approach because there was a problem with the old approach? Has there been an assessment of the anti-drug campaign for the last 6 years under the Duterte regime? Have they audited all the actions by the police? Is there an admission that the killings were unjustified and they were unacceptable and we have to stop those? Because unless you come to terms with the errors and the problems of the past campaign, you can't really claim that you're doing something new and you're doing a whole new approach without admitting what went wrong with the previous regime. For us, the question of impunity is still an important subject. The United Nations, the Human Rights Council of the UN, took note of the lack of meaningful accountability in achieving justice for the victims of the drug war. And we do not find any clear indication with the statements of those you interviewed earlier if there will be accountability for all the past violations during the past 6 years. So, paano yun? Anong gagawin ng administration doon sa mga naging problema? Tapos, dito sa bagong approach, ano nga ba talaga ang bago kung hindi naman nila matuntungan yung mga criticisms ng nakaraang programa? So, maraming dapat silang sagutin. Hindi po pwedeng idaan lang tayo sa mga fancy post-nation approach, which is also the same philosophy used by the NTF-LCAP, and we know na problematic din yung ginagawa nila. Hindi po pwedeng you just mouth these words tapos wala kang malinaw or clear assessment of what went wrong in the past administration.
Okay, the PNP is fronting these numbers, 46 drug suspects killed as compared to the Duterte admin's thousands killed during the first year of his term. Your thoughts on that, and also the focus on reducing demand as opposed to, looking at both supply and demand situations of the drug war?
Well, in the matter of is there less killings? Maybe so. But again, are the killings justified to begin with? Will there be accountability if these are investigated and proven to be extrajudicial killings? Number two, we still maintain that you have to look at the drug problem not just as a criminal justice issue, but also as a health issue. In other countries, hindi patayan ang first response, no? At hindi kulong ang first response. And sana, kung interesado talaga yung administration na to address the problem, why not increase the health budget? Why not develop the health system? You can't do rehabilitation if you don't develop your own health system. Paano sasaluhin yung mga nabibiktima at yung naging dependent sa drugs? Paano sasaluhin ang sistema? So, itong mga to, hindi pa natin nakikita no? Doon sa kanilang mga pronouncements, no? Paano pakikitunguhan ang mga biktima, no, ng paggamit ng illegal na droga. Hindi sapat, no, yung naririnig natin, at it might be even intended to just appease the international community. Dahil nga malakas yung criticism, may ICC complaint, may Human Rights Council statements, maybe it's intended to appease the international community, but substantially, will it be different? We have yet to see.
You mentioned the matter of accountability and impunity. Do you think it's possible? Is there any scenario where the government can address the demand side problem, provide the rehabilitation, give it the attack from a public health lens, as they say, and then at the same time, basically just walk away from questions of how the drug war has been waged in the past, and basically leave that behind? Can there be success, if not necessarily sincerity, if they succeed on one side and then turn their backs on the other side?
But I really doubt there will be success if we just sweep the abuses of the past under the rug. If we just ignore calls for accountability and pretend that the last 6 years didn't happen, that the thousands who died did not happen. We can't really claim that we're doing something different if we don't come to terms with the abuses of the past. So until we see policemen being held accountable, we are not really convinced that this is a new direction. Kasi yung potential na maulit yung mga abuses, nandoon pa rin eh. So long as you look at it as a criminal justice issue, so long as you treat them as criminals, yung potential for abuse is always there unless you hold these people accountable for what they did in the past. Mauulit, posibleng maulit lang.
We have yet to see if these words will be concrete and will come to life. Maraming salamat po, Bayan Secretary General Renato Reyes Jr. After the break, A viral phishing site has been posing as a link to a revamped version of the old social network Friendster. We'll be discussing this with cybersecurity advocate Art Samaniego. That when the big story returns, keep it here on One News.
So I've been here almost 13 years in Shanghai, and I've never seen anything like it. I was just over around the corner at Wulumuchi Road. Thousands of people protesting China's COVID restrictions, also protesting people that have been arrested over the last couple of days.
Warned against site that claims to be a revamped version of Friendster. Mon Gualvez with the report.
Before Facebook and TikTok, there was Friendster, one of the top networking sites of the early 2000s. It became popular for allowing users to customize display themes, profile photos, as well as the background music for each account. Of course, who won't forget the popular testy or testimonial? However, in 2015, Friendster became purely a social gaming site until it eventually closed down. Which is why many people became nostalgic when Facebook page Stunner posted that Friendster was back. Angelica, an office employee, did not hesitate to register. But she also made sure to be careful. That's why she only opened a dummy account.
Parang nagkaroon ako ng curiosity na ano kayang itsura ng Friendster. Tapos pinaghambing ko sila kung anong itsura nila Facebook, then sa Twitter. Sabi ko almost the same pero a few details lang. Meron si Friendster.
Cybersecurity analyst Art Samaniego says Friendster.click is different from the Friendster.com that everybody knew.
Ang click ay isang domain na kung saan mura mong mabibili. Mas mura siya kaysa sa .com, mas mura siya kaysa sa .net. Tumatakbo to sa WordPress. Ibig sabihin ito, mukhang hindi ito kayang kumuha ng maraming mga accounts o mga users.
The Department of Information and Communications Technology has also studied its IP address, where they found out that the owner had earlier records of phishing, hacking, and other malicious online activities.
This is not the same Friendster that was launched way back in 2002. The company that developed Friendster is not behind this.
But what do you do if you've already signed up? For now, refrain from clicking any suspicious links sent to your account which you used to sign up for Friendster.click. Change your passwords as well so that your personal information won't be compromised. For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
Here to give us more insight on the so-called Friendster 2.0, we have with us over Zoom cybersecurity advocate Mr. Art Samaniego. Good evening, Sir Art.
Hi, good evening sa mga nanonood.
First of all, with regard to this being a phishing scam, is it the same as the text messages that we get on our phones? And have we tracked where this IP address has originated from?
No, this is not a phishing. This is not officially. So, hello?
Yes, sir.
This is not officially a phishing scam. So, duda pa lang yun ngayon na phishing scam. But this is a legitimate site made by someone who would like to earn. Kasi when we study it, it has an AdSense ID. And the AdSense ID is the same with other IDs, with other websites. So ang nangyari when we studied it, it has AdSense ID together with other websites. One is the Bramzero website, which is owned by an Indonesian named Bram Gumilang. So the purpose of this website is really to earn. It's not phishing. We did not see any phishing attempt. We did not see. Well, it collects data, but the data that it collects is your name and email address in order to register.
So, Art, I mean, just to be clear, so una malinaw, this is not the Friendster na original. That much is clear. But what you're saying is that so far there is no evidence that you've seen that this is actually, trying to, violate our privacy, violate our security, and it's not being used to hack into, the things that we should be protecting.
Yeah, correct. So there is no evidence that this guy is hacking. This guy has just made a website that he named Friendster. So it's not Friendster.com, it's Friendster.click, and
Okay.
click domain is a cheap domain.
No, sige. But in the
It's a generic top-level domain. So he just made a website and named it Friendster.click.
But
He did not claim that this is the comeback of the Friendster that we know in 2003.
okay. But
But we're warning people not to log in or not to register because it collects data that could be used to phish you. But as of now, there is no proof that this website is doing a phishing attack on its users.
okay. In other words, Art, it is not yet something that we can definitely call phishing, but just by the very nature of it using the term Friendster, because let's face it, that is going to fool a lot of people thinking that this is the Friendster of old. Just by nature of that, we should be wary and we should be careful with our data, and for that matter, be wary of logging on.
Correct, yeah. We need to be very careful, especially if it involves our data.
Okay.
So dapat mag-ingat tayo dito.
Okay. Now, should
Pero
it...
as of now, well, you can register and it's connected to Facebook. The forum is connected to Facebook. So it's just like a simple site that uses plug-in. It's called body press something, the plug-in that transform the WordPress site into a social media site.
Okay.
So as of now, it has just more than 7,000 followers, and most of them are Indonesians because this guy, the guy who created the website, is from Indonesia. And of course, there are Filipinos also who follow this one because it was given coverage by the media. And as of now, as we talk about it, yung taong gumawa nito kumikita dahil pinag-uusapan siya, and many people are clicking and going to this site, the Friendster.click site.
Okay. Now, in the meantime, just going to the warning of just being careful about this, just by the very nature that this is not the Friendster that you may think it used to be or was. Should a website, let's not say this, but let's say, should a website eventually go down that track of becoming a phishing site, remind us, ano ba yung mga risks involved sa mga phishing na iniingatan natin?
For this website, for this guy who made this site, he has a lot of websites that's collecting data. But I don't think he's doing a phishing attack. Pero, ganun pa man, let's all be careful. Let's not share our data, especially personally identifiable information to the public. We do not overshare our data because the more data that we have online, the more attack vectors these attackers, these scammers would have against us. Kaya ingatan natin pag-overshare ng mga data natin.
Okay, maraming salamat, Art Samaniego.
Thank you.
And after the break, the Business World Economic Forum returns to in-person settings with discussions centered on growth beyond the COVID-19 pandemic. That and more when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
チームラボは2001年から活動している、アートコレクティブです、いろんな専門家が集まって実験をする場所という意味で、チームラボを作りました。
Those experts range from international artists and architects to programmers and mathematicians seeking to navigate the convergence of art, science, tech, and the natural world.
大学院に行きながら始めたんですね。で、大学の専門は、サイエンス、特に物理や数学が、専門でした。今みたいにレンズで世界を切り取ると、画面が境界面となって、自分の身体と切り取った世界に境界ができてしまう。もしくは視点が固定されたりフォーカスが生まれる。
To explore what it means not to be constrained, Toshiyuki opened the world's first digital art museum in Tokyo, aptly called Team Lab Borderless. And he says advancements and technology has been the key to greater freedom of expression. From experimenting with interactive installations to having visitors step into water, Team Lab has wowed people all over the world in more than 50 cities.
物質とくっつくと、変化そのものを表現することが難しくなったり、物質から解放されることによって、変化することやその時間そのものも表現できるようになったと思っているんです。
One of its most tucked away museums can be found in a forest in southern Japan. Team Lab's Digitized Nature project explores how digital tech can turn nature into art without harming it.
あの場所はすごい大昔からね、森で、その江戸時代に一部がお庭になったような場所なんだけども、いろんな時代の人の営みが重なってきたような場所で、作品を通してね、長い時間が存在していることをね、普段よりもより、認知できたらいいなと思って作っているんだね。
Team Lab has no plans to slow down. Set to open a new museum in Abu Dhabi focused on the concept of environmental phenomena, slated to open in 2024. Toshiyuki says digital technology has made it possible for artworks to expand physically, which allows for manipulating and using much larger spaces. That way, viewers are able to experience the artwork much more directly, now and in the future.
You're still watching The Big Story here on One News. Food security and addressing inflation were among the hot topics discussed today at the Business World Economic Forum. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez gives us a front seat to that story.
The much-anticipated Business World Economic Forum finally returned on-site this year. With the theme Forecast 2023, Opportunity and Uncertainty, the event gathered the country's top businessmen to discuss the post-pandemic landscape.
House Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez opened on a high note, telling the business community that the best is yet to come.
We are on the first stage of full economic recovery, and we are marching on the right direction.
Romualdez noted the government is poised to achieve growth between 6.5 to 8% from next year onwards. The House Speaker also said Congress is committed to prioritizing legislative measures that support the government's 8-point socio-economic agenda. First on that agenda is attaining food security, which was a hot topic at the forum. There were a number of solutions offered to address high inflation, including bringing tariffs down, encouraging local farm production, and tempering politics when it comes to addressing food issues.
Right now, it is politics that reigns when we make decisions on sugar imports, on onions, on fish, on meat. So we need business sense to come into these decisions because it is business sense that will enable a smooth flow of the stocks.
In his keynote address, Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokno emphasized the role that the Philippines' young demographic will play in our economic recovery.
Our young, tech-savvy, and globally competitive workforce shall be our engines of growth. Therefore, we will champion them by making human capital development and education with a sharp focus on 21st century skills a top priority in our agenda.
Other hot issues tackled at the forum were on sustainable energy, quality and inclusive education, and digital banking. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
For the big story in sports, the Cignal HE Spikers books its first ever PBL Finals appearance despite losing to Petro Gazz in 3 sets. The Angels cruised past the first 2 sets, but the HE Spikers rallied in the third frame to snatch the set 25-27. But the Angels completed the win in the 4th set 25-18. Cignal ended their semifinals campaign with a 2-1 win-loss card, and by virtue of their superior set ratio, the Cignal HE Spikers are now finals bound. And also by virtue of superior set ratio, the Petrogas Angels automatically advanced to the finals. This after Creamline Cool Smashers dropped 2 sets against Cherry Tigo in their last semifinals game. This means it will be the Cignal HE Spikers versus the Petrogas Angels in the finals. The PVL Best of 3 final series will begin on December 1, Thursday. In other news, Filipinos can now add another destination to their Christmas bucket list now that the Park Links Bridge is finally open to the public. Laila Panghilinan with the details.
From the railings up to the arch, the Park Links Bridge illuminates as the newest Christmas attraction in Metro Manila. The bridge links 2 parks of 2 of the biggest real estate developers in the country because of its modern European design. It is also set to be the newest landmark in the Philippines, similar to other renowned bridges of the world.
We saw in that bridge the opportunity to create a landmark for the project, and that is why we made sure that it will be a beautiful bridge.
Soon, the bridge can also be used as an alternative route to help ease vehicular traffic in the northeast and eastern part of Metro Manila, or Libis in QC and Rosario in Pasig City. Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto is also pleased that the developers considered having more green spaces for people to be in touch with nature.
It's the biggest remaining open space in Pasig City. Kaya natutuwa po kami na yung development niya under Eton and Ayala Land ay nakikita natin nagiging sustainable yung plano nila.
For now, only cyclists, pedestrians, and vehicles going to the nearby parks can use the bridge and enjoy the Park Links Bridge Festival of Lights.
Often, the developments in the Philippines, parang we turn our backs to the river, kasi natatakot tayo na mababa baha. Kasi gusto talaga natin na umikot sila dito at yun, mahalin yung river natin.
The lights that dance to the tune of Christmas songs can be enjoyed every Friday and Saturday, starting December 2 until January 7. For News 5, Laila Pangilinan, we are One News.
Well, we definitely need more of that around the city.
Oo, lumalamig na. Tapos it seems to be that we're doing more and more stories that, get us in the mood for Christmas.
Kailangan natin yan kasi medyo mahal ang mga parol ngayon. Diba? Yung city na lang mahal.
Pero kahit anything that gets us in the mood kasi nag-umpisa na tayo ng countdown.
25?
Ano na ba ngayon? 26 days. 26 days, I think, before Christmas. Anyway, that's the big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. You may also log on to onenews.ph for more in-depth analysis. Ako po si Robbie Alampay.
The big story is also available via Cignal Play app. Make a free account now at cignalplay.com and stream One News anytime, anywhere. Ako po si Gretchen Ho. Stay safe, Philippines.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.